I think my end's fine. Hi everyone, by the way, we're live.
Mute me because I'm going to talk. How's this coming through my speakers? That's not distorting it. So that's not distorting the audio chain from the microphone that does to the speakers. So it's good USB.
Yep, it's got to be the computer end. We're just sorting out some audio issues with Andy. Hello everyone. How's your week, everyone? We're just this is the pre-show. If you're new, if you're wondering what this is, we're just getting everything ready. The actual show starts in about 13 minutes. But stay around because this is where you see the behind the scenes stuff happen. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to get the chat pop out URL. I'm going to paste that in and then I'll put it down in the bottom left hand corner for you guys so we can see ourselves chatting. That's the first job. Second job is to actually enable it. And that is done by magic. Haha, there we go. Chatties are all active. Wow, there's a good few people in. I know it's, some of you guys watch the show based on the topic, but we aren't always going to have the topic that everyone's going to like. So this week I've just called it Plug and Wiggle. And really all that is just that we're just going to muck around. And that should be really up anyone's alley who's into synth. So, so we'll see. We'll see, because that's what people have been asking me to do. We'll see if that's what brings the crowd. Yeah. So we've got in chat so far. Yeah, there's a few of you. We've got Martin Taylor, Suzanne. Hello to you guys. Wagyu. Azio Head. Future World Machines. QRDNK. Sergio. JX3D. Big hello to you all. And then scrolling. Human error has popped in. No, you're still bit crushy. I've got an idea, Andy. I've got an idea. I might get you to come in on a different call line. And if it makes no difference, then we'll know it's your end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into... I'm just going to send you a different call line number.
Do you need me to jump out?
Yeah. I'll do it through Facebook for you.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll do that one. And just give me a sec, guys. I'm just going to sort Andy out. He needs sorting out. Okay. So you'll need to just use the same URL, but you put that password in instead, and it will bring you in on a different line. See if that works. So we have Frozen Andy. Would anyone like to have a bit of Frozen Andy? Right, so I need to, if he comes in on the next line, here he is. I need to change that now to that. Try it now.
How's that?
Nah, no different. Bit crushy Andy. Andy's bit crushed. All right, get back to what we were doing before. It's weird how things just break for no reason at all. What was I doing? I was saying hello to everyone. Daren's just popped in. Mark M, I think, was next. Wayne Murray. Sasquatch. Hello to all of you guys. I think I said QRDNK just as we were talking to Andy, but anyway, just in case I didn't. Mike Delic, I said. Hanway Wiesner, hello to you. And it just scrolled. I hate it when YouTube chat scrolls on its own. Inky's there. Hello, Inky. Hello, Lisa. I think that is it. If I've missed you, You know what to do. Synth at the screen. Don't worry if you break the screen. I mean, you'll feel better. It's therapy. It really is. Andy, if you come back in on the other one now, have you? No, you're on that one. Okay, cool.
Another try.
Oh, okay, that's working.
I can't hear anything on this now.
That's working, but that seems to be your webcam's mic, right?
I can't hear you, Ranzee. I can't hear Daren. I can't hear anything.
Right. I can hear you clearly, so now I know that it's definitely not my end because you're clear.
What's going on there?
You guys in chat can tell him. He can't hear us. Who watched the... Well, I didn't watch all, but I watched a little bit through someone's Facebook feed, the Clownfest gig in the UK. I think it was it yesterday or the day before? Let us know if that was something that you watched or went to. You might have even been to it. Obviously, I can't go to it. It's on the other side of... I can hear you perfectly. Let's tell him in chat. Is he in chat?
What is going on in here today? I can't hear.
He's not in chat. Let me just message him via the other system. Give me a sec, guys.
Well, I can hear you guys again. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Or am I just still distorting?
No, you're perfect now.
Well, I don't know what that was all about.
Well, it's all good. So let's not touch anything just in case. Hello, Daren.
I've changed USB cables. I've changed. Oh.
Yeah, you were just literally you were just bit crushed before. It's a pretty cool effect. If you ever want to use that for your vocals, do you know what to do, or maybe you don't know what to do? But it definitely wasn't mine. It was not Clownfest, but Mark was playing a gig at the Landed Festival. Yeah. So I sorry, I don't know that I'm not up with the lingo, but it was really good. And it seems like a lot of people were not dying, but it's been a long time since people have been able to gig and do live performances. And I think there's a lot of emotion in all that at the moment. I think it's really, really important for us musicians and the human race to actually be a little bit more free and not feel like caged animals that we seem to feel like at the moment. Bless you. Now, Daren, is your microphone working? Okay. Have you lost your voice?
You can hear me, yeah?
Yeah, I just wanted to get the audio check. Cool. Right, now, tell me if you can hear this.
Look at the state.
Can you guys hear that?
Copyright
strike runs.
Good. It's an arpeggiator. How can that be a copyright?
What? Because those notes belong to somebody else. They are locked forever and ever. Amen.
I'm not allowed to play. So I'm not allowed to play those notes because someone else played them. Boo-hoo.
True.
Yatvoi sluga, yatvoi robotnik.
Yeah, a long time ago. Probably when I was actually knee height to a grasshopper. Okay, let's check out the stream. Make sure we are
Why
good.
do I look like I'm sitting in a snowstorm? Oh well. Nobody needs to look at my ugly mug anyway.
Are you on that? You're on that channel. So at the moment, your guest. Let me just fix that up. I want to make you Andy again. God, can you mute it when you're doing that, please, Daren? That is really annoying. I'm sure you do that on purpose.
No, different flavour. Look. Ink it.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm just pressing the wrong buttons here.
No.
Right, okay, so we've got that fixed. Hang on, Daren wants to show something.
No, it's just different flavour. Look, can you see it? I don't know.
I can see something and custard. Oh, rhubarb and custard. Fair enough.
Get a copyright strike for that as well.
No, they can just sponsor the show. Bugger them. Right, stream health. That's what I was looking at. Jeremy, wow, it's 15 minutes goes so quickly when you're tech troubleshooting. Okay, we've got 3 minutes before the show starts. Stream Health says, excellent. You wait, you wait in a few seconds, that'll change. Everything
Stream
just...
Health's excellent.
This technology must be so flaky, hey? For all these little things to go wrong every single time we do the show. It just must be the flakiest. You wouldn't want, like NASA wouldn't be using this technology, right? Or a surgeon in a like an open heart surgery wouldn't be using this technology. It's about as trustworthy as your mate down at the pub after he's had a few looking at your wife. Right. Hello, fellow human, Ragoo says. In curly braces. Not curly braces, square braces, sorry. Ragoo's wearing square braces today, everyone. He's trotting around in his square braces. Too much programming from the Wagoo's world. What language uses square braces? I know which language uses square braces, but it's in programming language, not spoken language. What is the significance of a square brace in the syntax of most programming languages? Andy missed my comments when you were in Dalek mode. Would you say them again, Martin?
Was that being broadcast to the world?
Just yeah, only a little bit.
Oh, right.
Just
okay. Thanks, everyone.
I've been streaming since Q2.
That's well, so that's why it's all. That's what Wagoo's getting at then. Right. Okay. Thanks, Wags.
Right. Okay.
Okay, Martin. Andy missed my comments.
Yes.
I was titching about
Wagoo's correct.
USB cables and.
ASIO head's correct. Ragoo's correct. Usually for defining arrays is correct. Yay! Data structures. Who loves data structures? Do you know what I did today? We've got 1 minute, so I can tell you. I went to set up something at the old university that I used to go to, and it was kind of like a trip down memory lane. It's kind of weird. If you've never actually revisited the university that you studied at for a long time, like same with what I'm just telling you, I reckon it's good fun because it kind of brings back all those memories of the classes and the lectures and the exams and all the stuff that you would have done. And yeah, it was fun.
I've done that. Yeah.
And the sad thing is, apparently they're going to knock this place down, and I guess they'll build like residential apartments because that'll make them money. And they're going to rebuild the place in the middle of the city in a high-rise building, and it's just a beautiful campus, I should say, with lots of grass and yeah, it's a shame that they do things like that. Anyway, I'm going to hit the button. Whee! Boom. Hello everyone, welcome to another Saturday. You've made it, I've made it, everyone's happy, we're all good. How's your week been? Let us know in the chat. Join us if you're actually one of these people that lurks in the background and thinks, well, I'm a bit shy, I don't really want to chat to you. Yeah, do it. Trust me, we're all nice here. Anyway, let's start with Andy. Andy, apart from being in a snowstorm and speaking like Daleks, how's your week been?
Oh, rubbish. I mean, I've actually, last week, I mean, I was very lispy and hollow last week because an old dental bridge failed and it's all been redone. I had 2 teeth removed and I am still recovering. It was done on Thursday, but I still feel like death, having been mauled about. I feel like I've gone 3 rounds with Mike Tyson. Honestly,
yeah, it's hard
the whole
work.
right side of my face is absolutely killing me. But at least I can speak now without lisping. And this morning I just thought, I don't think I can do this today. But here I am, still not able to do it. Because
what a trooper! I'm sorry to hear if you've been a bit poorly.
I have been. Yeah, well, I've been obviously, because we chatted in the week about this, getting ready for this set that I'm doing and setting up the sort of to my left, the sort of live setup that I'm putting together and trying to troubleshoot things with something that's even a basic system has proven to be a major headache.
Oh yeah, it's good fun.
Some great discoveries. What I didn't, when I mentioned to you on Facebook, I said I didn't realise that the Beatstep Pro actually can function as a perfectly adequate MIDI to CV converter. So what it's receiving on MIDI channel 1, it passes out through CV channel 1, and the same on channel 2 and CV channel, which actually is really wonderful, but I don't want it to do it, and I've not been able to quite solve that problem yet. So
we might
but
be able to
hey,
have.
this
We might
is
be able to
my-
check that out during the show, Andy. I might go and grab the Beatstep Pro and have a look
I
through.
wonder-
We'll see if we can sort
I
that
wonder
out for
why
you.
Well, we'll see what happens. I think it's to do with the MIDI control center. I need to have a go and play about in that.
Yeah. Well, I've got it.
So
I've got it all.
I've been sort of,
I've got it all turned on here, so we can go and plug mine in and we can go through it together. And hopefully we can sort that out for you, because I'm sure there is a setting in there.
there will be. The other thing, of course, is making progress with the dratted MPC, which you can't see because it's being hidden by my head. There it is, next to the pot plant. There we are.
Oh yes.
So a big thank you to Lisa for helping me out with the update, because I really couldn't get it to install. It was not playing ball at all. So Ingrid's helped me out with that.
Well done, Lisa.
And just been actually playing about with it and making progress. Actually making my first pattern in it as well, which hooray! But again, that's just something to take bit by bit. But it's at least we're getting somewhere.
Have you played with the plugins?
I have, yeah. They're great.
They are good, aren't they?
I absolutely adore that Mellotron. It's just
Yeah.
fabulous. And when you start getting into the effects settings on it and all sorts, it's great. And the hype synth, actually, that was one I was least interested in. And actually, it's
the best. It is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, I've turned the MPC into a really quite a wonderful polysynth, which is great. I mean, just plug the MIDI cable into the back of the Super Level, playing it, been great fun.
Oh, absolutely.
And
also
God, Poly MPC update to do.
Also Poly Odyssey as well, as I was saying last week. Poly Odyssey.
Yeah, indeed. I haven't played with the Odyssey, surprisingly enough. I haven't played with that one yet.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. So that's some good news there. You got your MPC going, and you're getting ready for the gig. That's always positive. And we'll see if we can sort out the Beatstep during the show. See what we can do. Someone else is here. Daren. Daren's got a couple of good me. Alex Party. Haven't heard those for a long time. And who's the other one?
Aye.
Oh yeah.
It's
yeah. I like
Chemical
that.
Brothers,
I like that. Yes.
Locking Beats.
Definitely like those two. Haven't heard those for a while. Definitely the one on the left I've heard, probably more recently, but the Alex Party one I haven't heard for, geez, I'd say maybe 15 years. How old would that be? Would that be getting close to 20 years?
I'd say longer than that, yeah.
Yeah.
90...
Oh, 90s.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the 90s.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Life is just cooking right along, isn't it? Well, how's your week been anyway, Daren?
It's just I don't know, just quite I don't know what to say. Not good, not bad, just pretty flat, really.
Just cruising.
Yeah, just pretty meh.
Yep. Have you has the weather been a little bit better, a bit calmer, a bit warmer, a bit milder?
It's been very wet. We've had torrential rain for the first half of the week. The second half, it seems to have dried up now. It's cool. It's probably down at your temperatures, or maybe a bit higher.
Oh, we're about 10 degrees
late
here.
teens, 20s. Oh, we're a bit higher, about 20.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hang about. Are we buffering on the show?
It looks like we are.
No, it's all right. Show me buffering.
It says it's okay.
There we go. Yeah, nothing really. Just working. I've got a lot of ideas, but I'm not sure what to do with them yet. So we'll see how things go.
Did you have a wiggle?
Yeah, I've always had a whittle. I wiggle all the time, other than making my music.
Good.
So not much to say really.
Fantastic. Now I'm getting error messages, but we'll see what happens. It's probably one of those weird things where we've got some really big weather stuff happening here at the moment. So we'll see what happens during the stream. I wouldn't be surprised if this connection, because it's a microwave connection, is affected by it. We have we've broken our all-time record for rain here in the last month. So it's just about to clock over to a new month as of tomorrow. And we've never had this much rain. It's not like it's like a massive increase compared to what the previous record was. It's just slightly over, but it's considering that Australia is generally getting drier, this is actually quite a weird thing. But yeah, and it's been really windy, almost sort of cyclonic type winds here. So hopefully the internet will stay up. It looks like it is still. So it says it's excellent again. It's temperamental. It's a bit like a mother-in-law. Right, okay. We are going to cook along this week. Now, there's not a lot of stuff happening news-wise. We do have a little bit news-wise that we're going to get stuck into. But this week, I thought we'd have a little bit of a play with a few things. We're going to check out Andy's problem with the Beatstep Pro. We're going to do a bit of stuff like that. I also thought we'd attack a patch that I came across during the week. And I don't know whether it's actually a real thing that it can actually work or not on the 2600, and you guys can help. So this is actually something that I came across in a forum where it says that you can use the sample and hold generator to create a sub-oscillator for one of the VCOs. That would be cool if we can do that. Even though it's got plenty of VCOs, you can add a sub-oscillator using a square wave, you know, bit of trickery. And I haven't managed to get it to work yet, so you guys might be able to help. So we've got that. Also, I thought we'd have a bit of a wiggle with the gear behind us, which is why the title was called Plug and Wiggle. I don't know where that came out of my brain from. Stupid ideas, of course, but let's start off with saying good day to the chatties. And I've gone through and said hello to everyone. In the last few minutes, who's jumped in that I haven't said hello to? I think Dazza wasn't there before, so big hello to Dazza. Kent's there. Big hello to you, Kent, and George. Haven't seen George for a while. Big hello to George. Couple of revisitors. So yeah, I think I've pretty much caught up with most people. If I haven't, Inverted Popes, haven't seen him for a little while too. Good to see you. Good stuff. Right, so we caught up with most of you guys in the pre-show. So here we are. Let's go with this first, because you guys will kill me if I don't do this segment. Right, let's start with this one. Yes. The old, are you really human? Right, some of these are getting pretty weird. What else we got? This one. Now, who sent this one in to me? Let me just quickly, I want to acknowledge the people that send these in, because it makes them happy. Now, that one was sent in by Jack. Big hello to Jack, who's in Discord quite a lot. The Unusual Instruments of the Orchestra, number 16, the Dill Piccolo. And my comment, which I think was pretty stupid afterwards, was George Gerken, as in good George Gershwin, classics. Pretty bad, that one. Anyway, the wind instrument that plays only sound notes. I like that. I do. I think it was pretty good. Next one was not sent in to me, but sent into the internet by Dazza. I don't know why he doesn't love us enough. He doesn't send them in to me. But anyway, I don't know if Dazza's the originator on this one, but it was definitely a good one. Yes. That will stop people from complaining about the knobs being too small, though. Don't you think? Spoken like a true lady. No, hello to all the ladies. Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the last one for this week. Surprised my wife today. Daren, do you often do that? Well, she just doesn't come into that room anymore, does she?
No, this is a special room, you see, so
yeah.
I'm okay.
Does she
It's not.
Do you have to have a secret, like, is there a combination lock on the door? And, you know, only Daren knows that?
Eye scan.
Retinal scan. Fantastic.
And then you have to put your hand in and it reads your palm.
Right. And what happens if it gets it wrong? Like, say if I went there and scanned my eye and put my hand in, would I get...
Yeah, you just unlock the door.
Oh, okay. That's good then. It knows, does it? It knows fellow synths.
Yeah.
Yep. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, what was the worst meme of the week? let's try a different way. What was the worst one this week? Was it the gherkin?
Yeah, the Dill Piccolo.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Getting pretty corny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny,
Okay.
but terrible.
Yeah, funny but terrible. All right, let's hit the news. There is one thing that I can show you quickly on the news, but I just wanted to, yeah, let's do this first. Right, well, we are at the news segment. Welcome everyone, and you can't see me, that's good, but you can see this. What about this bit of information? I kind of think this is a cool thing, actually. I like it when companies, they just let everyone know, look, there's a problem. We had some issues with manufacturing. Send your gear back and we'll, sort it out for you. I think honesty is the best policy. You can't have people running around getting some effects of overheating and short-circuiting. So I think it's a good thing that they're getting them all to come back just in case. No, let us know in the chat if you've got one of these handles and you're making progress now, or you've already sent it back, because that'd be interesting. I wouldn't mind hearing about that. Anyway, let's just sort of get a quick comment from you guys. Did you guys hear that news about Electron recalling their gear?
Yep.
I didn't know.
All right, well, we'll go with Andy because he did. So what was your immediate thoughts, Andy?
My immediate thought was I basically given myself an electric shock this week, wiring up the live setup over this side. And that's never, ever happened to me before with anything. And it was when I was plugging the audio cables into the modular, the main outputs. I plugged, and suddenly I got this zap up my arse. I thought, "Ow, I don't like that at all."
Wow.
And then I unplugged. I thought, "What's going on here?" And so I unplugged the Beatstep Pro, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if this was being caused by bloody stupid USB power.
Oh yeah.
So
that's what it's caused by.
So I was very sympathetic to anybody that's given themselves a shock off their Electron gear through that. I saw that and thought, I've done something similar this morning. I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't like suddenly I'd blown myself to the other side of the room. It was just this sort of like sharp tingle straight up my arm. I thought, hey, no, this is not good. Oh, back off.
Yeah,
So that was my story of trying to electrocute myself.
I'm kind of perplexed, Andy, to be honest, about how they've actually set that power up on that Beatstep Pro, because I mean, I've talked about this many times. I get all sorts of, ground loop noise issues and things like that from that. I think the power, whoever designed the power circuit on that,
it's not good.
It's not good. And for you to get a shock,
I really don't think. I only have two devices which power off USB in terms of, rather than a 9-volt power supply or something like that, and that's the Beatstep Pro and the SH01A, and I've got them both on separate, little plugs with USB cables in that are designed for the job. It's never happened before until I set it up over here, and I'd wired everything, and it was only that one last thing I was sticking in, and suddenly I'm going, bloody hell, what's this? So yeah, I have a funny feeling that USB is the cause, and me not happy. Don't put USB power on things; it's crap.
Yeah, it's definitely something that they need to stop doing, powering things by USB, or come up with better electronics. That's for sure. All right.
Static build-up. No, it wasn't like one of those static discharges. Maybe it was definitely a current. I felt going, ooh, So just a frustration, really.
I was just trying to keep a quick look in the chat to see if someone in the chat had the handle, and I couldn't notice it. Quick read, quick scanning. If you did say, and it's probably scrolled back, make sure you just flag my name just to let me know that you did say you had one. But I don't think there's a lot of Electron hipsters here.
It works with those. It doesn't go with those cycles things, the cycles and the samples.
The samples, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Where were we doing?
Rather than the Digitacs and stuff.
We were doing news, weren't we? That's pretty interesting news. That came from Behringer. Now, I'm not surprised. Let me put it that way. that they've shown this, because they've. Let me put it this way: I don't know anything about this, and I'm sure Behringer have been working on this for a while. But when you look at what Behringer have done with the Curtis chip, they've done the Pro one. They're doing that Pro 800 or whatever it was called. That one's probably almost about to ship now. So this was kind of inevitable for me. I felt that they were sort of gearing towards, like a big voiced analog synth. And I mean, a lot of people who are Dave Smith instruments and sequential were probably like throwing their synths at the screen right now going, oh, you're copying again. Look, let me put it to you this way. There's a lot of people in the world that would never, ever be able to afford a sequential synth. Ever. It's just way, way, way out of their reach. This might be, the easiest way for them to get to it. So watch the space anyway. They're not really saying a lot. They're just saying that the prototype's been complete and the firmware development is in full force. There was another photo from the back of this. I didn't get to get a really good close look at it, but it looked like it had obviously USB and MIDI, the full MIDI and all that, but it looked like it had a couple of CV things at the back, and I don't know if anyone picked out what they were, whether it had some sort of specific outputs or something on there. Someone might be able to tell us in the chat, because the photo wasn't the greatest. So that's that one. And then there's this one at literally the same day, was it? So they said on this particular post that this is a Jupiter 8, and they're saying the journey has started. So what they're saying here, really, this is kind of really early days. This could be like 5 years away, 4 years away, depends on how long they take to build it. I guess my point on this one is it would be good to see someone build a Jupiter 8 properly with the keyboard and everything, because I don't think anyone's actually built a Jupiter 8 with the keyboard. Yeah, I think the Black Corporation did the Jupiter 8 as a kit, and it was a module. So yeah, it'll be good to see someone do it and someone do it properly. I think the price of the Jupiter 8 currently on the used market is getting absolutely stupid. So I don't think this will affect the price at all of an original, but I think a lot of people would love to get access to that sound. And I think it's a good idea. Right, so with those two things, you can pick one or pick both and let us know your thoughts. We'll start with you, Daren. Did you see the news of those two?
No, I didn't. But like you say, the price of the sequential, or, well, if they do make the Jupiter 8, the price of getting hold of one of them, for me, and for most people, it's like, it's never going to happen. And if you really like that sound, and they're going to make, you know what Behringer are like, they're very, very close to the original, even though it isn't the original, and they're going to make it cheap. So I don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, is it something
definitely a Jupiter 8?
Is it something that you'd be interested in? Maybe the Jupiter 8?
The Jupiter 8, I would probably really, really like one, because I can't afford original, and it'd be a shame because I wouldn't mind a Jupiter 6 actually.
Yeah.
But the prices of them are just like, that's not going to happen. So yeah, if they do a Jupiter 8, although I think I'll probably be packing up by that time. I think by the time that comes out, I'll be too old.
Packing up. You're not even that old. Dearie me. Okay, Andy, what about you? Your thoughts?
Mixed feelings, if I'm quite honest. When Behringer do their clones, when they're clones of things which are not available and haven't been available new for a long time, for example, the Pro one, that's sitting here, I have no problem with it. I do have a problem, however, with the Prophet, because that is a machine which is still being made, or at least the Prophet 5, the Prophet 6. These are commercially available instruments from Dave Smith sequential, and I do think that it's awkward. It's just awkward when somebody else is actually running a current business selling these things. I have far fewer worries about the Jupiter 8 because Roland have had ample opportunity to do this and provide what the market wants, and they have turned their back on it. You know, so I've got no problem with Behringer going ahead and making a Jupiter 8 clone. In fact, I welcome that one. It sounds strange because, you know, I know that they are essentially the same idea. They're clones of old machines, but Dave Smith is still making profits. Roland is not making a Jupiter 8, and that to me is the difference. I don't know why it makes well. Yeah, I do. It just feels that one feels fine and the one feels uncomfortable. That's my take on it. Maybe I'm just sitting too much on the fence. Maybe we should put a big red line through the whole lot. Maybe we should all start saying, "Come on, please, Behringer, and make your own synth again. Please give us a polyphonic neutron or something like that." You know.
Oh, I agree with that, Andy. I think they should make their own. I do think they should make their own, you know, a couple of own synths, something completely off the wall. I mean, the amount of R&D they're spending on all this, you know, the retro cloning and things.
Yeah.
They got to come out with some, you know, some new stuff, something that's not been thought of, or they can do that. So I don't know why that'd be good. That'd be good.
Yeah.
I mean, they did the Neutron, didn't they, which was good, and the DeepMind 12. I know it was sort of loosely based on Junos and things, but at least it was a Behringer synth that was pure Behringer. I mean, it's about time they did something pure Behringer and no one else has done, so other people can copy Behringer.
Yeah. I kind of wonder if they're kind of building a knowledge, because remember, there's a lot of people that work in these old analog synth industries that are in their 70s and 80s that worked originally, you know, on those circuit designs. Some of them have passed on, so it's actually probably a good thing that there's a company remaking them, because they're retraining people on those old circuit designs and they're keeping that sort of those things alive. And if that becomes then a good R&D for them to go on and make something new and original, but based on the knowledge that they've accumulated, that could be their.
I think they've got plenty of knowledge by now. They've got plenty of knowledge by now. There's nothing stopping them having a go at a synth, even if it's, you know, part of whilst doing the clones, bringing them out, and then there's nothing stopping them that. I mean, the guys they've got at Behringer, and well, yeah, so. I think they should do the same with Behringer. Do your own synth, for crying out loud.
I think they should do both. Honestly, I think there's people that will hate them for the Pro 16 and hate them for the Jupiter, love them for their own individual stuff, and there'll be people that will be the opposite. So, and there'll be people that just don't care. They just want to make music. So I think, you know, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, we all have our own individual opinions. So. It's just one of those things. Now, that is it for news. There was some other news that came out during the week, but I think most of that was software, and that was covered well with the Pro Synth show that's on Friday nights. Most of you guys watch that, and if you don't, do check them out. They're a good bunch. There's 3 people who work really, really hard putting that show together each week. So wish I had 2 extra people helping me. These 2 blokes here, they're awesome how they come on the show.
I
don't get any help. So not asking you to help, by the way, guys. I'm just saying it'd be nice to have some people get some guests and research and things for me. But yeah, anyway, life's a bitch. Right, next thing is this one. Once again, most of this is going to be brought to you by Andy, who's a synth addict. He's probably snoozing. But the first one we came across wasn't from Andy. This is just from a guy on one of the forums who thought this was quite interesting how someone would find an organ on the side of a street for Verge collection. I don't know if you guys get Verge collection in your part of the world, where the council just picks up stuff. You can tell because it's still got the octopus strap around it. Where they loaded it off the truck. Anyway, doesn't even know what type of organ it is. Calls it a synthesizer. Technically, you could probably argue that. But geez, look at the postage. Interesting how they're going to be able to afford to post that massive thing for $22. I'd like to see a postman agree to do that job. Yeah, anyway, just thought that would be interesting. Picked it off The Verge. These are from Andy, from who's Synth Addict. This is the Korg PS3200. What I like about Andy's submissions is they're probably getting to be about a month old now, so most of these would probably have disappeared off of Reverb or wherever, but some of them I've never heard of. Like he's done a few, he's given me a few now where I've never actually heard of the synth, and this is one of them. I actually don't think I've ever heard of this.
Surely, Rants, come on.
No.
You serious?
No, don't know about this one.
The PS3000 series, there's 3 of them.
Yeah, no, I didn't have
3 different ones, all slightly different configured.
Yep.
Pretty sure Vangelis used it.
I'm sure they all did.
I mean,
yeah,
it's quite a well-known thing that, but it's also rare and unreliable. That's a lot of these things were.
What are they based on? The MS-20 type sound, are they, or
it's precursor to that, or it's similar circuitry? Yeah.
Right. So it's 21,000, better part of 22,000. This is US dollars. Is that a good spend considering how rare these are? This one's in the Netherlands. I don't think this would be around anymore. Let me check to see if it's still there. What is good about this synth, Andy? Tell me a little bit about about it.
Oh heck! I would,
come on, Andy, you've got to sell it.
Yeah.
Me, I'm not going to sell it. I've never even seen one in real life. Although Ralph Baumgartel, who runs his own channel here, synthy sort of Berlin school stuff, he's got at least one version of one of these and has talked about it on his channel. So if you are interested, go and check out Ralph Baumgartel. He'll be able to give you more information on it. I know that they are polyphonic, paraphonic, or whatever that they. I'm not quite sure how many notes or if it's all notes, but I mean, I bet Kent knows. Kent Spong, PS330, so 3,300, 3,100, and there's this 3,000. Yeah, I'm sure Kent will know more about it, but I know no more than what I've just blabbered on about. So
that's fine. You just gave me a second or two to type in something into Reverb whilst you were chatting, so that was good. You're allowed to blab. I did find one, actually. I did find one. And it's not this one, though. Let me just see if I can find the key to get me to there. There we go. Beautiful. There it is there. So this is Australian dollars. So if you're wondering what that translates to about 30,000 US dollars. So this one's even more expensive, but this one does have the Kenton MIDI and, well, the other one had the keyboard as well. But what's the, it's got some sort of cable. It must be rare as well, the cable. See that grey cable? He's talking about 60-pin cable. Excellent condition. This one's in Spain.
That attaches the keyboard, I think. Kent will put us right, I'm sure. But
yeah. Let's have a look.
Says the PS3200 is paraphonic, so.
All right. So that's it. I mean, it looks like it's got some sort of preset memory. Very, very old sort of style preset memory. Oh yeah, there's that cable. Oh, it doesn't look ugly as anything. That big massive cable hanging out the side of your keyboard.
Was it just connect to the keyboard? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Why couldn't they put it at the back? Why is it hanging on the top like that?
Keyboard control. Yeah, it's a keyboard control, isn't it? It's the 60 keys on there. Is that why it's 60 pins, each pin for a key?
Something like that.
Please don't ask me technical questions about this, Darren. There's the back of it, if you're ever wondering. There's the Kenton MIDI hack.
Kent's just said it's basically a string synth with tits on. Behave, Kent.
Well, there you go. That and it's funny because it took us down a little tangent, and that was because of Andy from Synth Addict's price watch thing. Wrong one, wrong section. Right, let's go back to where we were. Let's do this one. The Schmidt. I haven't seen a Schmidt for a while. Do they still make the Schmidt?
Heck, who knows? Yeah.
It is
it
is a massive synth, isn't it? The Schmidt. Everyone was going gaga over this thing when they first made it, and it's kind of disappeared off off the front page, if that makes sense. But I know a few people, not personally, but I know of a few people that have got one, and they rave about them. They say that they're a very amazing sounding synthesizers. $27,000. This one, they'll actually ship it to you for free. This is actually brand new as well. By the way, I'm sure all of you saw that written there, and I'm not saying it because I know you guys can all read. But it's really just because I'm making a point about how $27,000 for a brand new 8-voice analog synth. And look, some people may want to buy that from Mr. Noisebug in the US. I'm just going to have a quick look on Reverb to see if there's another Schmidt there.
Well, it's probably also quite an investment. It's only going to go up in value, that sort of thing, until the market, till the bubble bursts and people just say, this is silly, I'm not spending that. But at the moment, I'm sure if you spent
I'll just get a Behringer version.
Yeah.
You could probably sell it then a few months later and make a profit. Maybe people are doing.
Well, the Schmidt is no longer in Reverb, or on Reverb, I should say. Why am I saying in Reverb? But I'm just wondering. I'm not looking at chat because people in chat would probably tell me. But there is a website called Schmidt Synthesizer, and you can go check them out. Let me just bring it up for you guys. Schmidt. Here we go. This button here. Yay! So they still have a website. Do I want to translate German? Yeah, well, I'll translate just because most of us speak English on this show. Beautiful. Well, there's even an English button up there. There we go. Now, can we still buy one? Is the question. I don't think they sell them anymore. That's just a gut feeling from...
It's probably made to order.
Yeah, but there's the guys that made it. So, yeah, 2013 was when they first started mucking around with building one of these things. And I was really actually quite impressed.
So the guys behind that are the people that made the MB33, Daren. You've got one of them, and I've got the Fab Freeform thing, which is the precursor to it. Oh, I didn't realise that. Look at that. South German instrument manufacturer, MAM.
Yeah.
Stefan Schmidt later delivers the MB33.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wicked.
So if you're ever wondering what
We've got
it's
a bit
about,
of Schmidt then.
8-part
You've got a mini Schmidt.
polyphonic, real analog sound,
Yeah.
digital controlled preset memory,
Very
discrete
mini.
structures. So there's no oscillator. There's no oscillator / filter ICs. So basically, that's saying there's no chips. Everything is discretely structured. So that's actually a pretty cool thing if you're sort of really into synthesizers and you just want that sort of that sound. Do you remember when we had Adam on and he was showing his DIY synth? A lot of the stuff that he built in his synth was discrete, which is got a lot of people interested. Yeah. Now, what does this begin? Does that just... Yeah, look. Someone in chat might be able to tell us if you can still get it. I don't know. I haven't been watching chat.
It's just gorgeous, though, isn't it? Cool. It's like what synthesizers used to look like, isn't it? It's modern, but delightfully vintage. And I just think it looks gorgeous. Yeah, I really think it's a delight. We get Ty on; he'll tell us all about it because he's got one.
Yeah, look, it might be one of those synths now that they don't make anymore. But if you rang them up and said, "Hey, I've got $27,000, would you make me one?" They'd probably go, "Yeah, okay." Right, I had one more. Here it is. Speaking of profits, 14 and a bit thousand $US for a profit
Snuggly
10.
bear.
Yeah.
Snuggly bear.
Just so people aren't doing the reverse Google image thing on their listings. That's an original Prophet 10, isn't it, that one? Because it's got the 2-layer keyboard, yeah? So
yeah, the original Prophet 10 only had one keyboard, and they did that to give more space so it would cool. I think that's why they did it. But then you've got 2 split and layer. Yeah, that's what they sold. I don't know how many of those they actually made, but there aren't many. It wasn't a big success.
This segment's slowly starting
It's
to
a beautiful thing.
It's slowly starting to turn into, look what we can't
The
afford
synth
segment.
history section. Well, quite. Yeah.
You'll never see anything like that in here. My wife would kill me. She'd be like, should you have maybe paid that amount off the mortgage instead of that monstrosity? Yeah.
I think that every time I buy a synth, even if it's just £100.
Yeah, you always have that buyer's remorse. Yeah, I think Mark was talking
especially if
about
you don't
that
get on with it as well.
Show. Mark was talking about on his show.
Stop
the
it,
other day.
Daren.
Yeah. So that's it. We've reached all the end of the segments, and we have arrived here. And it's only 30 minutes into the show. That's well done. See what happens when we don't get a lot of news? Sometimes it's good. We don't get boggled down in the news. Right. So, what do you want to do first? Do you guys want to do a little unboxing? I thought we could do some unboxing.
I'll go and find the box if you want.
No, I've got one here. You don't need to.
I've unboxed them already. Oh no!
You already know what it is, Andy, don't you? I think I told you.
Do I? Did you?
I think so.
Well, I've gone and forgotten. That's because I'm getting old.
Oh, don't get too old. There we go. Let me get the knife to cut it open. So this is a bit of Eurorack. This is the multi-mode filter for the 2500 series of the Eurorack stuff. So I just cut that. Bit of sticky tape. And we shall pull it out, as the actress said to the bishop. Right. Andy's disappeared. Who wants the Behringer sticker? Look, I'll give it to you. Here you go. Look, that's a very elaborate manual. I think a lot of us will be flabbergasted about how thick and informative.
How much detail there is.
Yeah, and I will tell you that manual will not help me at all know how to use a 2500. And there's so many 2500s out there in the world that none of us have a clue on how to use them. But anyway, that's fine. What'll end up happening is there'll be gits like me who end up doing these clumsy YouTube videos, and they'll become
slicing the hand.
They'll become the formal user manuals of these things. Right. God, I hope not. Okay. Here we go. It's not coming out. Getting some stream errors again. Oh, it's lovely today. It is not raining at the moment, though. All right, we don't want the... Has anyone ever eaten one of those? By accident?
Probably best not.
Bag of lollies. Okay, is that upside down? No. Beautiful. Let's put that a bit closer. I don't have the light on, so we'll just have to deal with that. There we go. So what have we got? I mean, everyone could just have a look on the internet at what this thing looks like. But here it is in real life. Multi-mode filter. What can you guys tell me about? This is the first time I've actually seen this thing in real life. So what I'm guessing is that you've got like filter frequencies. That's obviously like your cutoff knob, right? Resonance. And you've got notch. Bandpass. Down the bottom here, you got low pass, high pass, bandpass, and notch, which is pretty good. So the other 2500 module that I showed, geez, it was a while ago now when I showed that, didn't have all that extra, the filter stuff. And then obviously you've got your CV connections. Oops, on the other side here. I'm doing this upside down. So FCV1 and FCV2. Now, I wonder what that actually means, FCV1 and FCV2. I wonder what those two do.
Frequency.
Frequency, you think? Yeah. One. Interesting how there's two though. Import and then you've got QCV as well. So we should find out what they all mean. I wonder if the manual.
Resonance, because it says Q next to resonance.
Oh yes, it does too. Well picked up. And look at the F underneath the notch. The notch, wherever's the notch gone? There's an F underneath there.
Notch. It says FC?
Yeah. I know what that stands for, but I don't think that's what they meant. Okay. Use FCV1.
That's
Use
cool,
this
though.
jack to route
Presonus.
external voltage control modulations for the filter frequency. FCV2 says the same thing. It's just they've just cut and paste that. QCV is the resonance, as you rightly said, Andy. So I wonder why there's two FCVs. Interesting. It's probably just like...
Well, one can be an envelope and one can be an LFO.
An LFO, yeah. Just an extra one.
Yeah. Interesting. Do all four of those outputs simultaneously? So you can have all four of those different filters all panned to a different place and sweep the knob so that they'll... That would be interesting if that's the case.
Well, I'm just holding the... I'm just showing you guys. I'm just holding the manual here and just having a look. It sends out the signal from the low pass. I guess it would. It doesn't say it's like what's the word? Decoupled. You know, if you've got nothing plugged into it, decouples it or anything. So yeah, I guess it would. All right. So I had to take my glasses off to do that because I'm getting old.
Can you turn it over?
Where was the button again? You want to have a look underneath?
Yeah, so I can have a look underneath. No, just seeing whether it has any marker for your red, for your -12.
Oh, it's notched.
What? It's a shrouded
that's
header,
all right,
so
then.
it can only go in one way.
Yeah, so you can't mark that one.
That's fine.
Only goes that way. I think you
Yeah,
could
good.
force it in. You could force it in.
Even Dupfer have been putting those on them, I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know you're gonna. You always get one that you haven't got a clue which way it's supposed to be.
Anyway, we might see if we can get a chance to look at that. If we don't get a chance to look at that tonight, we can look at it next time I'm on. But yeah, right. Now I was looking for my remote control for my.
Can I show two boxes then, just to show the the sort of difference? Right. Okay.
Well, I look for my remote control.
There's a Behringer box. I'm sorry, it's all a bit sort of
fuzzy,
crappy image of my internet connection, but that was a Behringer box, all nice and shiny. And here's another one. Right, there you go. Just simply a boring cardboard box.
Yep.
So that one was from Dupfer.
Yeah, that's how Dupfer do it.
So yeah, and you just think, well, actually, there you go. It does just the same job. I just thought it was interesting that the boxes were so very different. No, they were. Done my bit.
Well, I actually don't have a problem with that. Actually, I think
me neither.
You don't really care about the box rip, do you? At the end of the day,
no, it's going to get shoved in a cupboard under the stairs. Not that I've got a cupboard under the stairs.
It's only when you resell something that you have to move something on where people start to sort of go, oh, you don't have the box. Oh, take 20 off because I don't have the box. Like, it's just a box. It's not like it's not like you've got a shelf and next to all your Star Wars figurines, you're going to put your rack empty boxes up there or something stupid. I mean, like people are getting a bit silly about boxes, and they also, if you ever look at some of the module people, they use like recycled stuff. So I can't think of who it was. I think it might have been. No, I think Make Noise were ones that were using recycled stuff in theirs. So all the packaging inside was there was no plastic in it. It was all cardboard and it was all recycled cardboard. So even like the padding for everything was recycled. So, that sort of, e-waste type, sensitive type thing was, a lot of people quite happy with that sort of stuff. Right, now, I can't find my remote control. I don't know why, but I can control the camera from here anyway, so let's just get this back up to here. Now, I was going to, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the PTZ camera happening. Ah, yes, beautiful, it's working, cool. Now we can zoom in. Sorry, you guys can't see what I'm doing because I haven't done that. And now I've lost my screen where I was zooming. There we go. Right, so let's just zoom in a bit. Sorry, it's not straight. I don't know why it's not straight, but it's probably because the camera's on an angle. But that'll have to do. That'll do. You guys can see it. You don't really need to see the dusty peak below. Who cares about dust? I live in Australia. There's lots of dust here. Right, so what was I going to do? I was going to do a bit of mucking around first. And we'll do, a little bit later, we'll do the Behringer 2600 patch, see if we can get that working too with the... You guys think that's a good idea? See if we can get a sample and hold to turn an oscillator into an oscillator and a sub-oscillator. I reckon that's an interesting thing. Okay, now, what I was doing... Sorry, say again?
Just say give it a go, why not?
Give it a go later? Yeah. All right, so what I was doing with this patch is... it's kind of like a mess. You guys probably think, oh God, it's like a spaghetti mess. I'll explain it to you. So what I've got is Pamela's is the clock. It's currently at 127 BPM. And that's sending out gates to a few things. And the first thing I wanted to sort of do first, talk to you guys about first, is with the maths. I don't know if you guys know, but Make Noise did a video this week just on their channel where they showed how you can use the maths as a bouncing ball, which I love that stuff where you can automate sounds like a bouncing ball. So, yeah, what we could do first is see if we can get that going. Now we just need to turn another sequence off. All right, now how is that very quiet? Can you guys hear that?
I can hear it, Ranzee.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me just turn it up. So that literally is just the Make Noise maths making that. And you can, if you want to know how to do this patch, you can just go into the Make Noise maths user manual. It's actually just in there. But I just thought that was really interesting. Now what I've done is I've just got that patch firing off the Pico drums here, which is drum 2, and it's just, you could turn that into any kind of sound. And believe it or not, that is actually clocked. Even though the actual sound makes a bouncing ball sound, it's still clocked off Pamela's using a clock divider next to it, which is a Doppler clock divider. That's the one there that's clocking at that little red output there. So I can make that fire not as much by putting it down one. All right, now next thing would be, that can get quite annoying after a while. But what I thought we'd do with that next is, I might record it. All right, there we go. Now that's going through the scooper. And what I've got with the scooper is I've got the scatter depth and the scatter type being modulated via 2 LFOs, which are over in the case next to it. So we'll just have that sort of playing in the background. I'll just turn that down a bit so it's not going to be so. And all of a sudden now that bouncing ball is no longer a bouncing ball, it's just kind of some glitchy noise in the background, right? Next thing we've got is the varigate, and I've got that clocked. And we're going to play... So the varigate is doing 3 things. It's firing off the kick drum and the snare in the module next to it. And the other cool thing about the varigate, it's mostly just gate sequencing, but it does have 2 CVs on the side here. And I've got one of them going into the Ranzee module, which is a rings module. And that's then going into the clouds or typhoon module. So we can change that up. All right, then I had an arpeggiator going, which you guys weren't too happy with because it was craft work, so I'll just change it to something else. So that's a 2600. So then I also had the System 500 sequenced. And that's the peak, so we can find some sort of sound with that. But what I thought we'd do now that we've got that sort of going, that's my patch anyway. You can turn off the recording there. We could go somewhere with it. This is not going to end up being a track or anything. This is just a bit of fun. Let me just pan. We'll go to us for a sec. Say, oh, we're still here. We're just mucking. We're plugging and we're wiggling. Daren, can I put you on chat duty so you can keep an eye on chat, see if what someone's saying in chat, sing out to me.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, matey. Right. Next thing, move the water out the way. I hit the wrong button then. Sorry, I was supposed to hit that button. Right.
Well, Future World reckons it's a nice bass line anyway.
Is that the that one? Yeah.
I would say yes.
That's the blue ARP, and that's obviously the ARP 2600. Well, not ARP 26. Behringer. We should never ever say ARP 2600 because people just get really upset if you call it an ARP 2600. But let me just show you what the patch looks like on the 2600 so you guys can see. It's very, very, very basic. But there's one really, really, really important part of that patch that actually makes it sound the way it does. And that is that you will notice that I've got the linear control on the envelope. Because if you unplug that, the envelope control by default on the 2600 is actually exponential. You use this one here. But I actually want it to sound linear. And there's a reason for it, because you get different characteristics out of a linear envelope than you do out of a exponential. And one of the greatest Eurorack modules for proving that is actually the Make Noise Maths that we were just looking at before. It's actually got linear, exponential, and also logarithmic. Now, let me just pan up a little bit so you can see the tuning and the oscillators up top. You can see I'm just using oscillator 1 and oscillator 3. Don't ask me why, I just decided to do it that way. You could have used oscillator 1 and 2, but by default, oscillator 1 and 2 is a square wave, so oscillator 3 just by default is a sawtooth. Now, obviously, I could just use the output sawtooth from the oscillator 2 if I wanted to, but I've just decided I can use oscillator 2 later if I want to. Your envelope is a very, very 0.5 time factor. It's a very, very short envelope. And I do, when I'm playing this, I'll probably muck around with that envelope just to sort of bring in. And then shorten it. So it's such a sweet sound. What else is kind of funky about it? Not much more. It's pretty much just really, really basic synth stuff. So you can just follow those settings there. So that's that. What else can I show you? Thought I'd go across to the right here. And you know what I should do? I should save these camera angles so I don't have to keep remembering them. You probably think, wow, can you do that? Yep. So let's save that one, and then we'll go back to the 2600 if we need to go back there, and we'll save that one. I should have done this earlier, but been busy. Right, that's that one saved. And let's now go across to the other rack. We're not going to go to a rack, we're just going to go to my rack. Sorry, I'll do the bad jokes another day. Right, there we go. So that was just that real sort of subtle sequence happening. The two LFOs are happening from the Batumi, which is right there. That was modulating the scooper before, so that's where that's sitting. I actually like the Batumi mod. I've probably shown you guys it before. It's a really, really useful module. I do have the little extender module that sits out on the right of it, but I haven't got it plugged in because I've run out of space in this particular rack. Anyway, the sequence is Daren and my favorite sequencer. It's the Metropolis. We love that sequencer. It's awesome because it's a Roland System 100 sequencer. That's why it's so good. And all it is just just a basic mono synth doing stupid things. There, clocked by the Pamela's new workout. And I've also got, I don't know if you guys can see, but on the top left of the Metropolis, there's a little black tip-top stacker cable there. And that's actually coming out of the back of the Arturia key step. So when I do change the, when I change the notes on the key step, it should actually transpose the sequence. I don't know if you guys were hearing that. I'll try it again. Yeah, it's definitely doing it. So it's changed pitch. So as soon as I changed that sequence arpeggiated pitch, it changed it on there as well. Beautiful. So there you go. That's a real basic patch display. Now we can go back to each of these camera angles as we need to. Right. So there we go. We've plugged and wiggled. Anyone in chat want me to do anything?
I don't know how far I'm behind on the chat, but I think it's about a 30-second delay. I'm
really?
getting. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll keep that into consideration. What I thought we'd do though, do you want to? We could try that Behringer 2600 patch idea while we're kind of mucking around with that. Where did I put that? There it is. Okay, so what we do, I'm getting a bit of buffering. So do remember that it is probably the internet connection here that's causing some issues. Anyway, it's fine. We'll just keep persevering. All right. So the theory behind this patch is that we use the sample and hold module to roll your own sub oscillator. And what you do is you need a logic inverter module to do it. Now, on the 2600, there is a logic inverter down the bottom. There's the inverter there. So, Daren, you've got the same on yours. It says inverter, and all that technically means is that one of these inputs will invert using the inverter. Okay, so we just need to work that out. Now, what you would need to do is take the audio out of oscillator to sample and hold clock in. And I'm going to do this patch to what I've read, and then you guys can help me troubleshoot why it's not working, because I got it to the point where I just couldn't get it to make any sound. So let's get my head out of the way. Let's just grab some patch cables. Sorry. Okay, so sorry, apologies for the crazy length pack cables, but that's life when you haven't got millions of patch cables to your disposal. All right, so we're going to use oscillator 2. That's, oh, look at that, we have an oscillator that's spare. We're going to use oscillator 2. It wants it to, it doesn't actually say what audio out of the oscillator. So I'm going to go with pulse, just to keep things simple. So oscillator 2, pulse, and then I'm going to go into the sample and hold clock in, which I'm guessing is external clock in, right? Tell me if I'm wrong here. Get that out of the way. Okay. So that's the first part. The second part is we then have to use this multiple here, right? So we're now going to go from sample and hold out, which is there, and that's going to go to the mult. And then we're going to use the, sorry about that microphone, then we're going to use the multiple out will have two outputs. It'll go, one will go to the sub-octave audio signal. So this is the one that I was not sure what to use. So I thought I would patch that into a spare, this is your mixer, right? And we want this to still go through the filter. So I would have thought if I patched it into noise gen, it would just take over the noise gen circuit. That would be my understanding, and that's turned all the way up. So that's that. And then the second output goes into the logic inverter, Daren, because Daren likes to invert his logic quite a lot, especially on the show.
Too much.
Yeah. So look, the only thing that's kind of confused me here, and I'll move this out the way, is if you look down here, you've got minus 10 volts, keyboard CV, plus 10 volts, and that bottom one's the envelope follower. So I'm not sure if that actually does anything to the signal if I go on the minus 10 volts. But anyway, both of these, no, that's not, we won't use that one. We'll use the keyboard CV, actually, because that one, if you look at the line, that goes straight through to the inverter. So we'll use that one. Okay, now the next thing is we take the output of the logic inverter, which is there, and then that goes right next to us into the sample and hold, is that the right one? Signal in, which I guess is that. So let's see. Yeah, I'm not getting any extra oscillators. Just getting that one. I should be getting the second sub oscillator happening here. Yeah, so someone in chat could tell me, let me just pan that camera down slightly. So you can see just a little bit out of screen there what I've got just below. There you go. So that's the patch. So we're going from, we'll start again. So just a waveform audio from the oscillator into the sample and hold clock in, which I'm guessing is external clock in. Then the next one was sample and hold output, which is there, goes into a mult. The mult's split between two things. The first mult is the audio, which I've just plugged into the noise part of the mixer, which should give me audio from that. And the second part of the mult goes into the inverter, which is this, and I've got the inverter plugged in, and then that goes into the sample and hold signal in. Right, we could try changing which inverter circuit we'll use, okay? So I'm definitely not getting, I'm just getting that. So let's change it to the top one. And that means we'll need to, there we go. No, that hasn't changed it. So let's change it to the plus 10 volt.
It didn't move the slider across on that one, Ranz.
Oh, I didn't, you're right. Maybe it needs to go all the way across. Yeah, no, didn't do anything. We'll try the bottom inverter, the plus 10 volts. Not getting anything. So the level of the sample and hold is up as well. All right. Yeah, the stream is glitching. Sorry, I do apologize, but there's nothing I can do about it because I don't own the internet. So technically how this is supposed to work, if anyone's a real brainiac with this stuff, is what you're supposed to be able to do is create a feedback loop from the sample and hold out and back into the sample and hold in with the logic inverter as the loop. So that's the theory behind it, right? So yeah. The only thing that I can think of is perhaps maybe the external clock in is not, that to me is, that's sample and hold clock in, that's right. And that's the signal in. So if you wanted, instead of putting noise into your sample and hold and you wanted to put like an LFO or another oscillator, that's what you'd use. So to me, that's correct. So yeah, I just couldn't get it to. The oscillator is being fired by the keyboard. That's correct. Yeah. I can try a different waveform. I'll try saw. See if that works. Yeah, no. Not getting anywhere with it. Let's see. Yeah, for you guys who are getting problems with the stream, I don't really know what to do. Blame the CEO of Google. Let's just try playing around with that slider there. No, it's not giving me anything. So that's why the only thing that I was worried about is maybe the...
Wagoo's asked, is that OS going slow enough to work as a clock?
No, it's supposed to be audio rate. So you're using the oscillator itself as an audio, as well as grabbing itself as the sub oscillator of it. So you're not making a sub oscillator out of an oscillator, because that would be that whole thing would defeat the purpose. You might as well just tune that oscillator an octave down. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's using itself. That's why you don't slow it down. It's using itself.
No, that's what he's just put in. I was just
yeah.
Giving it. What is it? Elsie said. I think the clock would be pulse or square.
Yeah, I did too.
That's what he's saying. So
I did have pulse before. Yeah, not sure. Just out of curiosity, if I plug that pulse into that noise, turn that oscillator down, I just want to see if that mixer will pick it up. Yeah, so I now know for a fact that that mixer is being overridden by whatever I'm plugging into it. Yep, cool. So we're good there. And then if I put noise on there, I'm getting a click. Oh yeah, I'm getting a click. Okay, let's try this. See these. Okay, that's not working. I got a click then. That minus 10 volt gave me a clicky sound. Let's go back to here. And the clicky sound's gone now. Interesting. I do not know. It's failed, people. It's failed. Anyway, let's bring the other two oscillators back in. Take them out. Okay, cool. We're back to normal. All right, wiggle time, people. We failed at the patch. Maybe it's, look, where I got the information from, it wasn't technically for. No one actually said it was specifically for a 2600. So maybe you can't do it on a 2600. I don't know. But if you do actually have a real 2600, not a Behringer one, a real one, you can try that patch out. What I'll do is I'll cut and paste the text of the patch and I'll paste it into chat. See if that will let us do it. It's probably max. Oh yeah, it's maxed out on characters. Right. So how do I do this? I know how to do it. I got an idea. I'll paste it into Notepad. And then I will screenshot Notepad. There we go, give me a second. Sorry, it does that when I'm doing screenshotting, sorry. There we go. And then we save that. We'll call that Notepad. That'll do. And then we'll bring that into the stream because I'm so fast at doing this really stupid stuff. Here we go. There you go. So that is the instructions on how to roll your own sub-oscillator if you've got something that's got a logic inverter. This is basically what I was following. So audio oscillator to sample and hold clock in, sample and hold output to multiple outs. One will go to the sub-oscillator, sub-octave audio signal. Multiple out 2 goes to the logic converter in, logic converter out goes to the sample and hold in. So it's a pretty simple patch in that theory, but I just couldn't get it to work on the 2600 Behringer version that I've got. So yeah, you guys can pause the video and screenshot that and give it a whirl if you've got that sort of gear lying around. If you don't, then yeah. When we get someone working on it, we will let you know. We will let you know. Right. People saying goodbye. Must be riveting tonight. Right, so what should we do next? Andy, let's go to our wiggle land over here. What would you do to this next? What should we do to sort of funk it up? Muck around. You could play with the magneto.
You're asking me what? I want to know, what's that thing in the bottom right-hand corner next to your Pamelas?
That's the Caltrans. That's a quantizer tuner.
All right. Okay.
By Clavis.
Right. I've no really idea what's going on in that rack. You see, I can see you've got the two drum things, and you've got a mini arpeggiator. You've got the varigate and the voltage block. I have no idea what they do. I know they're sequencers and
they're sequencers, yeah.
Gate sequencer and pitch sequencers, and
yeah,
got the math scoop and magneto. Well, yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't really know. It's all covered in book.
Add reverb, you know, yes, everyone has that.
Well, I've got reverb.
Tons of it.
I've got reverb on the Typhoon. And we've also got reverb on the spring reverb emulator on the Magneto too. So let's just go back to this. That's really just like... That's maxing out reverb.
That's what, if you're ever in doubt and your tune sounds a bit naff, or you're not getting along, I just whack. Oh, right. Yeah. Whack loads of reverb, and then you just go, oh, it sounds beautiful.
You can do this, Andy. You can muck around with the Magneto where you can. Let's just turn this sequence off for a sec.
Where's that pinging noise gone?
Oh, I've
What's
recorded
the
it
looper?
on the scooper.
Oh, no, there it
So-
is, yeah. The bouncing ball pinging noise. Can we have a reverse reverb on that?
Not that good. I don't have the ability to do that. No, I'm just going to get the scooper to change the pitch. Sorry, not the scooper, the magneto to change the pitch for a sec. Just sorry, let me do that first. I haven't got the module to do that, Daren. Sorry.
Ah, right. I thought you had.
So I'm just going to grab a LFO out of Batumi, and we're going to go into speed here. Wow, that's really fast. So we want to slow that down. There we go. And all right, so we've mucked around with speed and pitch and all sorts of things. Okay, what we could do that's different, Daren, maybe is if we go to the other rack that's in a rack. Why did it do that?
Wow. Yeah, it's your voltage block.
No, I didn't want it to do that. It's being an idiot. Zoom out. I don't know why it did that. It's supposed to have remembered that rack there. Zoom out, down. Let's change that sound. We don't really need the sequence. I mean, we can change the pitches and all that sort of stuff with the sequence in a sec, but let's change that sound a little bit. That one's probably straightforward for you, Andy. So that one, let's take the sequence off here, and it's. Let me just take the magneto off. So that's what's making that sound. It's a System 500. If I turn the magneto's delay off, you'll just hear it dry. So it's very basic. It's got an LFO going into the filter, which is coming from the 540 module, and it's got an envelope, obviously. So Andy, what would you like to do to that while we're here?
I'm just fell asleep.
We can play with, like I said, we can play with the sequencer, or
Yeah, let's play with the sequencer because we love the Metropolis.
so at the moment the division's on 2. The scale is on Dorian. What's the other thing that we wanted to look at? Mode is forward, so maybe we could change the mode to like. So remove those out of the way so you can see the screen. All right, and now we can change some of the pitching.
Ranz, what have you actually got making the sound? It sounds just like a single square wave, really.
Yeah, so you've got a sawtooth and a square.
Sawtooth.
So let me just do the sawtooth by itself. Obviously it goes out of tune as soon as I do that. Ah.
2 bits in it, right? Yeah.
So we could sync oscillators. You've got the syncing. It's just using one filter and one VCA and one envelope. Give it a bit of a tune. Take the resonance off maybe. Right, now just change the division on the sequencer. That's not what I wanted. Daren, I wanted the thing to divide.
Oops, sorry. Oh, blimey, I haven't used mine for like 6 months. I can't even remember how to get into it.
Hang on, I've got the thing. It's one of these.
Wagyu said try the 505 filter.
Spit it up. Let's change some of these steps so that they trip. There we go. Different filter, you reckon? So 505 filter. All right. So the 505 filter, there's two filters in this, and I've never worked out which one's better. So maybe you guys can tell me. So need to come out of that. Obviously, we need our modulation back. So there's low pass, band pass, and high pass. That cable's not long enough. Right, now the next oscillator. Let's put in this second filter here. I want to mix them. Leave that oscillator out for a sec. Hear how different that filter sounds? Just really grungy, isn't it?
There's another suggestion just come in, Ranzee.
Yeah.
From M Block. Can you CV the mixer? I believe you can CV the pan control, can't you?
Yeah, you can. But I've actually got this. I've actually got this in the magneto. And then it's also got a. That is such a bizarre sounding filter. It is so bizarre.
What's the difference between the two? Why are there two different filters? I mean,
They do sound different, so let me show you.
they do, yeah. I quite like it. That's very busy.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It also distorts too, so if you want it to be less distorted, you have to bring it right sort of there.
Oh. Yeah, Wagyu said it was supposed to be the SH5 filter. Not sure how authentic it is.
Oh, it's supposed to be. I don't know. Yeah,
It's
I don't
from
know.
Roland.
Yeah.
Okay, Roland Maleko, but still. It certainly sounds different to the one that's above it.
Oh, it's massively different. That's the System 100 filter.
Yeah. That's a SH5 filter, which does sound really fizzy.
Anyway, there you go. We've mucked around. The System 500 is kind of, I feel that you do need that 505 module. I feel it kind of can sound a bit weak without it. Sorry. Here I am. Hey. This the whole purpose of this stream is we're just mucking around with synths, and you guys I want you guys to be involved. You guys in the chat involved. Can you use the mouse bouncing ball thing to modulate something? It seems like it's going off. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I just leave it going on in the background just for shits and giggles, just so you can hear it. But yeah, you could. You could use it to modulate something. Absolutely. But what? We could. Okay, so what we could do is... It's probably, the thing is, it's because it's an envelope, it's probably better to modulate something as a gate as opposed to anything that's sort of pitch related or, you know, attenuator related, because like it's either going to be on and off. So I'm just wondering what we want to sort of do that to. I think maybe we might do this. So instead of coming out of there, so that scooper won't make any sound now. What we could do is we could try and, let's go back to this view here. I forget which one actually works. This one, I think. What we could do is come out of the not out of the Pico, what am I doing? Take the Pico out, we don't want that. We're going to come out of what was modulating it, this thing. This little black cable here was the trigger. So it's a bit short. So why don't we take that out and put that in. And then we could just muck around with some of these CV things here, either on the Ranzee or the Typhoon, and just see what happens. Right, so let's start those sequences.
We're just on chat screen at the minute, Ranz.
Sorry guys. What I'm doing is I'm coming out of the maths, and then I'm just going to use that cable to modulate some stuff. And yeah, it's working. Wow, that is glitching it right up. Let's get my head out of the way. I'm just going to turn the drums off for a sec. So the bouncing ball, you can actually see it on here when it triggers. Listen to the brightness. There you go. and then it disappears. So you can just play around with that, or dampness. No, it doesn't really do much to that. All right, let's try. I don't really know how much it's going to do with this, but we'll see. Very subtle modulation. Maybe we could trigger it a bit faster. I don't really see what it's doing there. Okay. Right, that was cool. One thing you can do is bring it back, bring the audio part of that bouncing ball sound back. Trigger. And at the output of the Pico drums too, going into this aux here. Now. It's not really doing anything, is it? Yeah, bouncing balls, lots of bouncing balls and wiggles. I'm still a modular noob too. Okay, so a couple of people were talking about tidiness and spaghetti and things like that. If you never sort of get into Eurorack, you probably, one of the things, I mean, I used to probably say it myself before I got into Eurorack was, oh, I don't know how you guys put your hands in there and get yourself around. You know what? You just do it. You get over that fact that there's cables everywhere because you know that they're doing really important things, and you just get your hands in there and you do it. You don't worry about it. If that sort of thing annoys you, then don't do Eurorack. It's pretty easy. I actually don't mind it. What about you, Andy? Are you the same? You kind of
Well, you
don't
can
mind.
have a look if you like.
You don't mind putting your hands in the
Have a look if you
cables?
like.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a look.
Let's have a Captain Cook. That's Andy's hand. No, I'm just kidding. I know you're adjusting your camera. It's a little bit pixely, but we get the idea. So there's lots and lots of patch cables.
Tell me if it's coming through. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It absolutely is. Can I just get you to do me a favour? Can you just talk for a couple of seconds? I'm just going to grab my Beatstep Pro.
Talk for a couple of secs.
Yeah, just while I go grab my Beatstep Pro,
right.
because we're going to check out the Beatstep Pro. Remember? 1 sec.
Yeah, well, we can do. Right, I've got to talk. Right, this is my
You've got to talk.
setup that I've put together for doing a gig on the 29th of August. I've got me two. I've decided to go with what I know rather than trying to learn the MPC for this particular gig. So I've got the two Electribes, synth and sampler. The synth is on this side and the sampler's there. There's the sampler. And I've got my Beatstep Pro in the middle. The idea was that the Beatstep Pro was to the Electro, CV to the Eurorack system, and then and so on and so on and so on. But I come up against a bit of a problem, sort of a problem, and that is that the Electro is transmitting MIDI information on channels 1 and 2. Well, it transmits on all channels, but I've got things in on channels 1 and 2. And the Arturia passes it out onto the CV channel 1 and the CV channel 2. So that was a bit of a nuisance. I didn't want it to do that. I wanted it to be separate. I want the Arturia just simply to respond to MIDI clock, and that's all. So Ian Jacob said, "Where's the gig?" It's at the Cremorne Pub on London Road in Sheffield. On the 29th, there's a 3-day mini festival happening down there over the bank holiday weekend. If anybody's in the Sheffield area and wants to come and see, hopefully it'll all come together. That's what I've been sort of faffing about at this week. So, yeah. So it's a fairly basic system, but it was just the various little problems that have arisen. Aside from almost electrocuting myself. Do I still need to keep talking? Anybody want to ask any other questions or anything else that's there? I mean, right, as you can see, cables everywhere. Spaghetti on the floor, spaghetti plugged in.
Can you have your? Can you hear
I'm
me?
back.
Yeah,
right.
Go on, Darren. What are you asking?
I was going to say, can you have? You said it was transmitting on 1 and 2. Can you have the? Can you have it? I presume the MIDI stuff that you're playing on MIDI on 1 and 2 is for the 2 Electribes. Can you have that on, say, 3 and 4?
Well,
so it's not.
Do you know, this is one thing I haven't looked into, Darren. The Electribe synth is connected up to the Electribe sampler and the Beatstep Pro via a MIDI through box. Basically, if you look at the Electribe sampler here, that's channel 1. And that one there is channel 2. And they transmit on MIDI channel 1 and MIDI channel 2. On the Beatstep Pro, the green is CV channel 1 and the yellow is CV channel 2. And they are picking up the MIDI input. So the MIDI is coming into the Beatstep Pro from the Electribe. And it's picking up the information that is on basically track 1 and track 2 on the Electribe and passing it through in CV. It's actually acting as a MIDI to CV converter, absolutely perfectly. But I don't want the modular to be playing the same notes that the Electribe is playing.
Can you change? I wonder if you can change that in the actual. You know, if you hook up to the computer, because you can do a lot of messing about with ins and outs, can't you? On the
Yeah, basically, Sasquatch has just said it, isn't it? Configurable in the MIDI control center software. Yeah, it almost certainly is, Sasquatch. But I have not had a look at it yet. I've got to figure out how to get a USB cable over. Sorry, I'm feeling really grotty and snotty right now, but it's a little problem that will be overcome if necessary. I can even just go to the Beatstep Pro being clocked using analog clock rather than MIDI clock. I just thought MIDI would be more stable and more manageable, but it may be that it isn't because of that other little problem. Hey, well, it's all good fun.
Right, so give me a second. I'm just actually installing, because I actually forgot to install the MIDI control center. Don't forget, this is my new Mac M1. So it's on the other Mac. So with the Intel Mac, it's on, so that's fine. It's still usable on that.
How are you finding the M1?
Yeah, it's really good. I just wish that people would start making like native applications for the ARM processor. So
it'll come.
It will, yeah. Now I don't know if that's installed. Let me just double check. Go to applications. It probably is under an Arturia folder, I'm guessing. Yep, there it is. MIDI control center, there we go. Let's get that running. Okay, it's working, cool. We can go to, is it this view? Yay. So there is my Beatstep Pro. I don't know. Let's just make it full screen. So we want to find out if there's any settings on the CV stuff. So you go, Andy, to the device settings on the right-hand side, and you would be looking at the CV gate mode and the sync mode. Right. So I'm just looking. That's just like a setting. Transports. Here we go. Transports. So you can have it. So that's just to do with MMC and MIDI.
MIDI stop channel. It's whether it's basically stopping it. It's like putting in a MIDI filter so that it can. It will filter out everything but the clock. So sequence transport MIDI USB.
So there's
sequence,
the 0 volt MIDI
CV
note.
mode. Yeah.
That's the note. There's the gate. So you can either choose that. Okay. What you want to know is, can I disable it so it doesn't send notes out via CV, but it sends it out via MIDI?
So that it doesn't respond to MIDI note data. You want to filter out MIDI note data, essentially. But
I don't think I don't think you can. From the look of this, MIDI channel, send MIDI channel, receive MIDI channel. That's all to do with MIDI. That's fine. We're looking at it in terms of CV, which is all kind of down here.
Well, if it doesn't receive on MIDI channel 1 and MIDI channel 2, then that would solve your problem, would it? Because it won't be able to send out to CV then.
Yeah, that's true. It's because it's by default, it's MIDI channel 1, 2, or 10. Because the drum part is MIDI channel 10 by default.
Yeah, so if you turn them off so they don't receive, then it doesn't matter how much MIDI you're sending in on the channel. It won't send it back out, will it?
That's good, yeah. So the user channel, sequence 1 MIDI channel, that's send.
Yeah,
MIDI
and then
channel receive.
Yep.
Sequence 1 receive.
Sequence 2 receive channel. There it is. Sequence 1 receive, and you can send it to you.
Yeah. So that's provided that you're not using a channel. Yeah. So you could use sequence 1 received and sequence 1 receive. Sequence 2 receive channel could be different. I've got mine set to 15 and 16 for some reason. I can't remember why I did that. It might have been to do.
So you don't do it on 1 and 2 like like Andy's.
Yeah. Well, I can change it. Yeah. 1.
I have no idea whether I've got. I might have to do some tweak. It might be I have to set them to 15 and 16, and just remember not to use those 2 channels.
Yeah. So that would be the default factory setting. That would. And yeah, the other camera's got the overhead of it. I need to change it to this view. It'll be upside down though. Sorry. Miss Jane. It's an Australian joke, that one. We used to have this when I was a kid. We used to have this school show called Mr. Squiggle. And he used to draw things on a blackboard with his nose. Had a pencil nose. It's all wrong. Trust me. The whole thing about it is, when you think back at some of the TV shows that we saw when we were kids, they were so politically incorrect and so wrong on so many levels. But yeah, Mr. Squiggle. And his host, the host of the show, was Miss Jane. And he used to always tell her that the blackboard was upside down. Right, so, yeah, so that's how you would set the MIDI channels, Andy. Do you want to give that I don't know if you can do that now. Do you want to give it a go and see if that sorts out your problem?
I don't think I'm not sure that I necessarily can, because I've not got a USB cable plugged into it.
Right.
Other than power.
But there is one small thing.
Unplug that little splitter thing.
I have to say there is one. Well, there's two. There's 2 small wins we've got out of that. Number one is Daren came up with a perler of an idea, and that is to use a different MIDI channel. And number 2 is we now know that MIDI Control Center works on a Mac M1. I'm sure you guys already know that already, but I didn't. So there you go. But in terms of filtering it, which would probably be the correct way to do it, you can actually do filtering on things like Ableton.
Yeah.
The MRCC does it, and also you can get those little boxes like the MIDI Power, MIDI Bro, MIDI Gal. They do it as well. So if you wanted to do proper filtering, you could do that.
There are ways and means, but I just have to. I'll have a play about with the MIDI control center and see if I can get it to.
I think you were saying, can't you make the Beatstep Pro the master? Or is that not going to work how you want it?
Master clock. Yeah, no, I don't think he wants it to be his master.
There's a good reason why the Electro needs to be the master in the system, and that is when you change the pattern on one, it automatically changes the pattern on the other. On the other hand, I'm trying to think about this. I think the easiest solution is actually just to use analog clock and see if I can get it to run that way better. I don't know. It's all right now. My brain is not functioning very well. I've still got a load of anaesthetic courses.
Well, I'd try switching the receive channels first and see how that goes.
I think that's worth trying. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can just do what Daren. You can just do what Daren does if you're not happy with how the Beatstep's working, and just like throw it over the back of your shoulder.
Yeah, never to be seen again.
I'll tell you, since connecting the Beatstep Pro to the modular system and using CV, it's got a whole new lease of life. It's been great.
It is.
It works miles better like that than it does over MIDI. At least I found that anyway.
Except for the ground loop noise. Do you use that cable with yours? That splitter cable?
Not at the moment. I have got that there.
Yeah. Don't ever lose that cable. Those things are extremely expensive. If you had to order one of those from Arturia, they are extremely expensive. And he's now looking for it. Right, where did we get with the chatties? Now that we've caught up. I think the stream, it's absolutely pelting down with rain here at the moment. So expect the stream to completely die in a bad way very soon. We've just hit the 2-hour mark, which technically it's not really 2 hours, it's an hour and 45 because the 15-minute pre-show is not really a proper show.
I knew I'd put it somewhere safe. I've got it. I can wiggle it around in the camera.
Daniela's telling everyone to get the Beatstep. I've actually got an old Beatstep. The only
problem, what you're saying, no one can see.
The only problem with the Beatstep is that
sorry, Daren.
It has that dreaded Arturia sticky.
If you're whittling it around in the dark, that's anyway.
What do you call it? This stuff. These knobs have got that fake, rubberized paint on them. Not the Beatstep Pro, but the original Beatstep, and they become sticky, like my Mini Brute did. So that's the only thing I don't like about the Beatstep. And yeah, she's right, absolutely right. You can use it as, what the hell? Where's my chat gone? There. You can use it as a controller for all sorts of stuff. It's really, really good.
Yep.
In terms of video controllers, though, I still thoroughly recommend one of these, which you'll see in a second when I press a button. These are extremely, extremely good for video controllers, which I'm using right now for the show. So you can see this flashing light here. That means that, I know what all these buttons do because it's just all muscle memory, but I can fade my voice down if you like. There we go. Look, I'm talking quieter, and now I'm talking louder. Or I can unmute myself. Very, very good.
It's a good job that you do know what all those buttons do, Ranz, because it could go quite pear-shaped quite quickly otherwise.
You know what? It's actually quite simply laid out. So the way my show works, right? I've got my regular segments, right? So that column there is all funny side. So if I was to press that top button there, which I'll do, it should go to the home page of funny side, which you guys will see. And now it's not working because I've moved it.
You just knew that was going to happen.
No, it does. It's the cable. I think the cable's getting dodgy. There you go. So that's what happens if I press that button. And if I press the second one button underneath it, it should show the, there you go. And then these are all the memes.
Oh, excellent.
See that? So it's all pre-programmed. It took me ages to
that.
program it in. You got to program. It doesn't just happen by itself. You got to do all the painstaking on programming. But it's just mapping.
I thought I did it for you.
Just like what Lisa said about with the MPC when she mapped her launch control XL. Once you've got it all saved and mapped, brilliant, works well. No stream problems. Yeah. So far so good. Touch wood. What else?
Yeah.
With these shows where we muck around with synths and stuff like that, I get a lot of people talking to me on Discord and things during the week and suggesting ideas. I want to do more of this sort of stuff, but I don't want it just to be me. I want to, like, Daren, I want you to have a crack at it, Andy as well. I like it when you guys, and we can always get some other guys in as well. And also, it's been suggested that we start showing some live videos or jams or of people that are in the chat. So if you do want us to share any of your music that's in the chat and you've got videos of yourself doing it,
Yes,
send it through to me and we'll put it on the stream for you, as long as we're not breaching any copyright. As long as there's no sort of copyright infringement sort of issues with your video, then we'll be happy to show it here and we can talk about it. One of the things I was thinking of doing is, do you guys want me to do a comparison where we're looking at the difference between analog versions of clones and digital versions of clones? So both of them are going to be clones. So I'll give you an example. You've got the analog clone of the TB303, which is the TD3 by Behringer. And I've also got the boutique Roland version, which is the TB3, which is a digital clone of a TB303. And I've also got, I'm thinking of the VC340, which is the Behringer string machine / vocoder. And I've also got the VP3, which is the boutique version. We could also do the TR808 clones. So I've got the RD8 by Behringer and I've also got the TR8 by Roland. So would that be something of interest, just to sort of compare? I haven't got an original to compare it to, so it's not going to be comparing it to how authentic it sounds. It'll just be to compare the offerings that are out there and whether analog or digital, does it really matter?
It might be interesting because there's the MS1 versus the SH01A. That's another possibility. It could be. It certainly do.
Oh yeah, and the
Would we be able to really tell the difference over the YouTube algorithm thing, audio? It might be one of those things that you can tell perfectly clearly through a set of studio speakers, but
probably not. But probably.
Headphones.
But what we can do is we can do visual analysis of it as well. We can actually plug it into oscilloscopes and spectrum analyzers, and we can actually look at the waveforms and see if they're different. So we can do that as well if you want to get your white coats on.
Well, that'd probably help if we can't, if some of us can't hear the difference, because it also depends on what. Like if I'm listening with my earbuds, I'm going to have pretty little chance of hearing the difference between the two over the internet. But if you can see it at the same time, if you can see it at the same time, it'll give you a bit of visual to hearing how it actually is. That'll probably be better. Yeah.
Do you know what though? I will admit I've listened back to many of my streams, and I think the audio quality is pretty good. Like it's not like as bad as a bad MP3 compression or anything. It's actually pretty good. I think isn't it the AAC? I think it's probably the equivalent of a 300 and forget the number, 300 and something kilobits per second sample rate, like a high end MP3, or somewhere along those lines. I think. Don't quote me though. But it is pretty good. AAC compression's better than MP3 as well. So technically we shouldn't get into that, but yeah, AAC 320 kilobits per second, I should say. Sorry, that's actually not bad. That AAC 320 kilobits per second is better than an MP3 at 320 kilobits per second. So there you should be able to hear the difference at that quality. I don't think you.
Yeah, but then it's also what device you're listening it on, though, as well, isn't it?
Oh, we have a finger held up.
My mic.
Aye.
Battery's died.
You see?
You can hear me. You can hear me through this mic now. It'll sound very echoey.
Yeah, but you see, this mic doesn't die. Well, it will actually if the mixer went.
Oh,
you just said that, Darren. You just tempted fate.
All right. So you're gonna have to put up with my bad sounding mic for a bit. Sorry, guys. I could move it closer to me. It's only just there.
We can hear you.
You can hear me fine, can't you?
Yeah, it's got a lovely room ambience.
Yeah, it'll have that sort of reverby sound. Sorry about that. It's not too echoey, so yeah. Look, we'll have to do. I think probably maybe we should start looking at wrapping up the show. It's probably a good sign. I did charge them for a bit, but I obviously didn't charge them long enough. That is the problem with these battery powered things. They are always a problem.
Well,
Daren, I had a bit of a look at your track during the week, and I thought it was pretty cool. So,
oh yeah, I think with me asking for people to listen to, I think the last couple of tracks there seems to be. I think people might be getting a little bit bored. So,
I don't think that's a problem though. Now, what I thought we'd do is show it.
yay!
Do I have permission to play your track, Daren?
you can play anything you want.
Okay. It does go for 8 minutes, so we probably won't do the whole thing. But I thought we'd do this. Now, let me just make it full screen.
If you could live forever, would you? The way I look at it is the knowledge that I'm going to know that creates the focus that I bring to being alive. The urgency of accomplishment, the need to express love now, not later. If we live forever, why ever even get out of bed? Because you always have to move on. That's not the kind of life I want to live.
What is sticking off here is not the clock. It's your life. Your life. Your life. Your life. Your life.
forever. That's not the kind of life I want to live. I fear living a life where I could accomplish something and didn't. That's what
What is ticking off here is not the clock. It's your life. Your life. Your life. Your life. Your life. Your life. It's your life. Your life. Your life. Your life. Your life. It's your life. Your life. Your life. Your life. Your life. Your life. Your life.
if you could live forever, that's not the kind of life I want to live.
Hi, Andy.
Let me to sleep, Darren.
Oh, it just faded out a little bit early there, but if you want to know how it ends, you have to watch the last 1 minute and 40 seconds. And I have posted a link to Daren's channel in the chat before, so it's the latest video on his channel. You guys can hear me, I'm streaming. Good, good, good. Beautiful. That was really, really good. I actually really enjoyed that.
That's, believe it or not, is you know that it's like a synth. It's like a constant. It starts from the very beginning and it goes all the way to the end. It just runs through the whole track content.
Yeah.
That's sort of 60 beats per minute.
Yeah.
So 60 beats, so it's 60 seconds, 60, you know, and it's hence the time,
Yep.
lifetime, and it all means something. So yeah, that was how it came about. But yeah, it depends on whether anyone wants me to release any stuff. That's the thing, because I've got the album that you know about, which is 2121, which I'm still finishing off. when I get a chance. There's only 2 tracks left to finish off for it. I've got an EP that's almost pretty much finished, actually. I've got a second EP or mini album, because I'm not sure. EP is sort of 4, maybe 5 tracks, so the album might be 7. So I've got 2 other albums in the works, and it's whether anyone wants me to release any of this stuff is the thing.
Stick it all up on Bandcamp, Darren. Just get it up there. People download it and chuck some quids in that. Yeah,
yep.
Do it.
Definitely.
We all want it.
I think I need to see that. I think the first one will be the EP, which will be very soon. It'll be before the big album, because that's taking some time to. I think Ranzee will know this. I've not even decided on the order of the 17-track album, because I'm playing it in the car at the moment, and
17.
I can't get the order right. Yeah, it's a 17-track album. The 21. The tracks are up, aren't they? So you know what's on. The EP is 4 tracks. The second album's 7 tracks, and the mini album or EP, which I haven't decided, is going to be about 5 tracks. I think 5 or 6 tracks. So I'm not sure whether you class that as an EP or a mini album.
Wow.
And then obviously, I said I'd do the. I said I'd do the viewers tracks that they put in about a month ago. I said I was going to make them available. So it depends. If people want me to make things available, then I'll do that. At the moment, I'm working on the 3 projects. Yeah, we'll have to see how things go, but hopefully you will.
Yes. Hopefully. Now, this button here should take us to a guy that's regularly in chat, and he's also been on the video side of things before. His name's Henrik, and it's JX3D. And I do want to just head you guys over to his Bandcamp channel page. It's just JX3D, as you see, just so jx3d.bandcamp.com. He's been putting some really, really cool stuff up. Now, the last thing that he's put up is this Sweet Dreams thing. And this is really good. I thoroughly recommend you guys go and check this out. I'll just play a little snippet of this so you can have a little sneak preview. Super cool stuff from Henrik, and I've just posted a link in the chat for it, so go check it out. Definitely worth having a listen if that's all you can do, but maybe you could do a little bit more for him. That would be good. Yeah, so like Andy said, Darren, get your stuff up on Bandcamp. I haven't got everything of mine up on Bandcamp. I should get off my ass and do that soon. But yeah, Bandcamp's a good platform for the fact that it doesn't really cost us anything to put the stuff up there, and you never know, someone might send you a few dollars, which Eddie was just talking about the other day.
Well, my problem is I want everything to be just right, which will probably never happen. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know what it's like, Rans. Even when you're doing your CDs, it's like, I mean, you're still working on one now, aren't you? And it's more or less finished, but it's just not finished. Yeah, it's just can't quite.
One more track.
Yeah, one more track. And that one track, you always go, oh, it's changed the sort of vibe of the album. Maybe I need to write a different one to go on it. And it's a bit of a loop you get in.
It's one of those things where I think, like with my situation, I think a couple of times I thought to myself, no, I'll just release the album without that track. But then I thought, no, I actually want that track to be on the album because there was a little message in there. It's Daren, you've had to play with some of the sound bits on that particular track already, and it's been a while since you've had those. But you can
always put that mix on if you want. I don't anything for you can put that mix on as a bonus track if you want.
I'd absolutely love to. Thanks for that. I probably will. But no, I want to get the track that I've done on there. Yeah, there's just a few sort of directions it was going in that I wanted to get the message right. And when you're doing messages in music, sometimes it can be a bit complicated. So the track is called Gate 1, and it's obviously a play on words because we use gates in synthesizers. But it's also the fact that we, at the moment in the last 2 years, we haven't really been able to travel anywhere internationally. And it's
which is really ironic because I've been listening to that remix I did at Gate 1 and listening to your samples that I had off you.
Yep.
And I've been listening to that in the car for the past couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's that, I mean, sometimes I like to do tracks that have got little messages in them, because that's just how I feel, and I feel like, I need to get something off my chest, and that's an out. Music could be an out for us. I did that on the last album actually. I did 2 tracks on my last album where there was messages in the music. One of them was called User, and it was about our rights to use things on the internet without being spied on by governments and things like that. That was a good one. I enjoyed doing that because it's right up my alley. And another one I did was called Retro, which was about us using, I mean, it's so much these days. Like even when I made that track, which was probably about 3-4 years ago, it was, we just reuse a lot of stuff in life. And I sort of termed this phrase in the track called out with the old and in with the new. It's like the reverse of what we've heard. We used to say out with the new, out with the old and in with the, out with the new and in with the old, or something like that. So I reversed the phrase and made it so that we are now looking at old things, and that was kind of the message I wanted to put through it. And built yesterday, built to last, those sort of things.
Do you find when you're writing tracks, it all depends on your mood? Because you can always tell when I'm having I won't say a low mood, but when it's quite melancholy or very, I won't say sad, but it could have that vibe to it. That plays into your track, so it could be a whole track, and it could be quite sad to you, but other people listen to it, and it's obviously they don't get the meaning that you're trying to portray. And then it's like, do you ever think the meaning you're trying to get in the track that people will ever get that meaning, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
You know the meaning you put it in the track, but will other people ever get that meaning that you're trying to portray?
I think moods are really important when we're making music. I think they're actually, I think if you make music and you've got a certain mood in you, I think it actually gives that track a bit of emotion, and they tend to usually be better tracks, I find. I think the tracks that you work on that are very clinical and very sequenced and too sort of mathematical and too musical, theory, those sort of tracks I always find don't end up having that sort of that feeling of emotion in it. And that one that we played with yours before definitely had emotion in it. There was kind of that, there was, like you were saying, there was that underlying sort of clock sound that was every 60 BPM or whatever it was. I mean, I've done that sort of stuff in tracks before where I've just literally blatantly on purpose made a sound go all the way through regularly without hardly changing, you know, filters or anything like that, just because I want that to be kind of like the foundation of what I'm building everything else on. And so you kind of feel, as you layer your track, like you were doing this too, Daren, as you put layers in and you're taking layers out, the foundation sounds were still popping around in the background, and they were there, and they were giving that solid, like I said, foundation on your track. It's a good technique. So shows you thinking things.
I've talking of that. You know, you're into arpeggios and everything. On the album, the 2121 album, which is sort of more space oriented, it's trancey. But it's hard to say. I think I'll put Paradise as a track on YouTube so people can get a rough idea of what the album would be like. But that runs something like 9 to 10 different arpeggios, all different keys, but all mashed in together to create a sort of, I mean, it's called Outer Solar Cosmic Collision, so that sort of gives you a rough idea. But it's so melodic, even though it shouldn't be melodic. It shouldn't actually work. It should sound awful. But when you throw everything in it and a bit of reverb behind it and delay, it just seems to be very melodic.
Yeah. I like melodic stuff. I'm into that. I like that.
Oh, well, that album's pretty much all melodic.
Yeah. A lot of the music I listen to is quite dreamy. I was talking to my daughter about this today, actually, and we were listening to some like recent music on the radio in the car, and I was kind of pointing out to her, we were just sort of dissecting one of the tunes that were on the radio, and I said to her, have you ever noticed that a lot of popular music that you hear on mainstream radio, the snare it sounds like someone breaking a bone. It doesn't sound like a snare anymore. They have this kind of R&B sort of snare, like a click. It's like a snappy sort of, like a bone being broken. And if next time you listen to a lot of that mainstream music, you listen to the snare, it does not sound like anything like a drum snare anymore. It just sounds like a sort of snap or a click, something breaking. You know, like if you were to get a wooden ruler, and break it, that sort of sound. And I'm kind of like, I have to admit, I don't like that sound. So I'm coming from a negative view here, but some people like it. You know, that's cool. And I asked my daughter, I said, do you like that? And she goes, no, I hate it. It actually, like, it pierces through her ears. She actually, like, was really quite... Once I pointed it out to her, she was like, oh, wow, I can't listen to that now. It's horrible. So it's interesting when we choose sounds, Daren, in our music, what sort of effect it has on people.
Yeah. It's, well, like I say, I mean, what you find, or I suppose that's of the now, though, that snappy, well, if you call it a snare, and it moves with genres, doesn't it? It's of the now, I presume. Something else will come along, and then that'll sort of disappear, and we'll be having some really long tail reverb snare that'll be in every track that sounds odd.
Like the 70s, yeah. And then they started the gated snare in the 80s, and the poor snare. The snare is
it gets it all.
Yeah, the snare is
bridge over troubled waters, snare in a lift shaft.
It's like the snare on the Volca. What's it called? The Volca Beats. The snare on that thing is horrible. That's horrible. That snare. That would have to win the worst snare award ever. It's almost like that. Anyway.
I've lost my Volca Beats. I can't find it.
Andy,
Isn't that in your Volca rack?
We won't show it today because we're running out of time. But Andy's put his headphones off. I'll just wait for him to put his headphones back on so he can hear me. Andy, we will. That's okay.
Say hello.
We will. What we'll do next week, Andy, is we'll show your Bandcamp page as well, if you don't mind. Yeah. It's just so horrible sounding. Mind you, though, if you did sample that and you did some work with the sample, like if you slowed it down and then you like Lisa likes to do, if you warped it a bit and sped it up and put some sort of effects on it, it probably might sound alright. But as just coming straight out of that thing, it sounds terrible. It's terrible sounding snare.
That's great.
But But even still, it's not a like a femur breaking bone.
No, you know, I mean, the thing is, I just sometimes switch this thing on and just play with it, and I quite like it. I actually play with this thing now more than these that are sitting here in this nice, as Darren's just said, me Volca rack. I just sit and I just go, yeah, I like that. It's quite, you know, but hey, it's just messing about.
Yeah, but it
as
gives
for
you
playing stuff
ideas.
off
That's
my
the thing,
back,
isn't it?
oh, blimey. Those are, don't forget, those are all really old tracks that I sort of did my best to rescue, and some of them sound better than others, and that's right. I keep meaning to sort of stick up some other things, but I've just not got around to the tidying up of them yet. My plan is to do a digital one, so the ones which were digital, the digital recordings from DATs and CD recorders. So, well, I've just not got around to it yet. That's a thing to do. I will say I won't be doing it next week, so I'm going away on Monday. I'm going to Aberdeen. I'm going to Aberdeen for 3
Aberdeen?
nights. Yeah. Yeah, well, nobody goes on holiday to Aberdeen. That's why it's cheap as chips. I mean, it's honestly anywhere that's touristy costs a fortune in Britain at the moment. But Aberdeen, I've got 3 nights in a hotel in the city centre of Aberdeen for 103 quid. I thought, bargain, I'm having it. And Aberdeen's lovely anyway, and there's
You're
lots
going
of
over
things
the
up there
border.
that will keep me happily entertained. Yeah, so it's a long drive, but I shall love it. I'm very much looking forward to it. So.
I've got
I'll
family
be a
in
bit out of
Aberdeen.
the loop. Oh, have you?
Yep.
Oh, marvellous.
You have to say hello to the Adamsons when you're up there.
I will do. I'll put out the call. It's
place.
quite a big city, yeah. It's lovely. I do like it. It's been a long time since I went to Aberdeen, so I'm looking forward to it very much. Plenty of stone circles to keep me happy too, and I'm going to take the Electro with me and do some stuff getting ready for this set and things, and yeah, it'll be a nice breakaway.
So next week
Yeah,
we'll
nice
do your
start.
band cape. We'll do your band cape. You do your. There you go. There's an idea for you.
cape.
Band cape. You're gonna have to wear a cape now when you're doing your live gig, Andy. No, we'll do your band camp next week. I'm gonna end the show now, guys, because it's 2 hours and 40 minutes almost. So I think it's these guys need to have their rest. These guys keep pointing the wrong way. Anyway, I think we got to the bottom of your Beatstep Pro. I think we got quite a lot of.
We'll get there.
Got through quite a lot today.
Wiggles.
If you do come up with a solution to the ARP 2600 sub oscillator sample and hold hack patch, and you can work out how to get a sound out of it, and do tell us. Don't forget there's that there. So I just put that in again. There's the instruction on how to do it. I don't know if it's technically an ARP 2600 patch, but I think it is. I mean, what has logic converters and malts and all that stuff all built into the one synth? It's obviously pointing in that direction. Darren, you should give it a whirl if you want on yours. Give it a go.
Yep, I'll if I get a chance, I will switch it on.
Anyway, on that huge disappointment, I'm stealing like Jeremy Clarkson's saying. No, he's been good actually lately. I don't know if you've been watching him on Prime Video. It's been good. Check him out. If you're into farm equipment, he's been doing a farm show. It's pretty good. Anyway, on that note, we're going to end the show.
We've seen that. It's great.
Going to end the show, and we will see you guys next week, and we might do some more plugging and wiggling. Thank you for watching, everyone.
Okay.
Have a good week.
Ta-ra.
Toodle later.
Thanks a lot, everybody.